Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So EA released the new Milestones event in Hockey Ultimate Team, and in this video, we're going to go through a tier list of all of the Master Set players for the event. Now, this is only going to include Week 1's Master Set players. Once Week 2 is released, I'll also do a video covering those. So, let's get into it. Alright, now there is technically 5 Master Set players, 4 of them which you can make. The other one is Kessel, that was upgraded to 89 because he already prematurely hit his milestone that they had released a little bit later on. So we're going to cover all 5 of these. These are all phenomenal cards. These are among some of the best cards in the game at their positions. With all that in mind, I'm going to start the tier list at B. Alright, so there's B, A, and S, S being the best one. Alright, now let's get into it. Alright, we'll start out in the B tier, and again, this does not mean that this is a bad card, but Patrick Waugh, the 89 overall goaltender, our first Master Set goaltender this year, 6'2", and he's got some decent synergies with Workhorse and Distributor, and Bombard and Light the Lamp I'm not huge on, but he does come with the 3 best abilities, essentially, that you can put on a goaltender. I don't really think post-to-post is that advantageous anymore because of A, the cost, and B, with the new animations being added in from EASHL, one-timers just don't go in, and that's what post-to-post really helped with. These 3 really help with how most players are trying to score in NHL 23. That being said, he's got 86 speed, 71 aggression, 91 glove high. Statted out, he should be one of the best goaltenders in the game. However, goaltenders will never solely win you a game. It will be your defense that dictates how well your goaltender plays. Every once in a while, they're going to make some saves that they shouldn't make. Absolutely. However, if you're going to invest about 165,000 coins, which is what it costs to make the card and level him all the way up, I just don't really think the value's there. So he's in the B tier. Also in the B tier is the 89 Kessel. Now this one comes with a bit of a caveat. He is extremely rare, meaning that you can only essentially buy him on the auction house. You can't create him. There's no way around that. When you add everything up, including his synergies with Workhorse and Gladiator, which are two good synergies, he's got 88 speed, 90 acceleration, and a shot that's above 90 as well. I think where he takes the hit, however, is defensively. So he's only got 82 body checking, and that's with Gladiator activated. I think that there are better right-handed wingers because you're not going to be able to put him at center, obviously, with 69 on the faceoff. So he is going up against pure wingers. I mean, even like Base Barzal, who's faster, a much worse shot, but I think you can get around that a little bit more. And some of the other X factors like Stamkos, things like that. I think that there are cheaper alternative options that are just as good, if not better. I've said this before, I think Wheels is one of the best abilities in the game. However, it is not a great ability if they do not have one of the higher tiers in terms of speed. Schneip, I think, actually does work a little bit more in NHL 23 than it does in 22, because a lot of the shots you're going for are those far side snipes. Make it snappy, again, something that you're not able to quantify. So, I don't know, you add it all together, I'm gonna put Kessel in the B tier, especially with the 500,000 coin price tag for what he's going for. Moving on to the A tier, we've got the 89 Hilary Knight. I think at the beginning of the game, everyone was kind of rolling their eyes at female cards in Hockey Ultimate Team because they thought they'd be too small or just not usable, and that just simply isn't the case. When it comes to some of the higher end ones like Kendall Coyne-Schofield, Marie-Philippe Poulin, Hilary Knight, they're very, very useful in Hockey Ultimate Team. Not to mention, when you combine Gladiator and Booming Shot, 2 of the better non-skating synergies, her body checking goes through the roof. You combine that with 91 speed, 92 acceleration, and decent all-around defensive abilities, I think you've got a pretty good card. Also, Unstoppable Force has quickly become one of the best abilities in the game. Born Leader will lose its effectiveness as the year goes along, but I think Hilary Knight is a very good card. The shot power has always been kind of a cause for concern when it comes to some of the female cards. However, on the forwards, it doesn't matter as much because, again, if you can skate, fly down the boards, hold onto the puck, cut into the middle and aim far side, or go for those rebound shots, things like that, it really doesn't seem to matter, and the accuracy actually seems to help it. On the defensemen, that's where you see the shot power really impact those cards negatively. But on the forwards, Hilary Knight looks like one of the more fun cards. She's in the A tier. All right, on to the S tier. We've got the 89 Oliver Ekman Larson. I gotta say, Oliver Ekman Larson is quickly becoming the Jack Johnson of the NHL HUT space. If anyone has been playing Hockey Ultimate Team for a while, you know that has now become meme level status that Jack Johnson always somehow gets a special or high rated card throughout the game, and even EA's devs kind of joke around with it. But Oliver Ekman Larson, at the height of his career, was a very, very good defenseman, but I don't think he was ever a superstar, and he always gets highlighted cards. I don't think this is on the level of Eric Brandstrom from NHL 22, which was just a super off the board and weird pick for a Master Set item, but there's just something about OEL, they just love him. That being said, this card is gross. 89 speed, 89 acceleration, a left-handed defenseman who's 6'2". You combine that with one of the best zone abilities in the game for defensemen and stick him up, and Seeing Eye. There is something about Seeing Eye if you take point shots that are shots for tips. I don't know if you've watched me play quite a bit. I actually find it pretty fun to go for set plays that do result in tip shots, and seeing eye on some of the players I have allows those shots to go in a little bit more. Again, you can't quantify it, but it's just something I've noticed, and it's only 3 ability points on the silver form. You combine that with 94 defensive awareness, 90 body checking, and a really good shot, you've got one of the best left-handed defensemen in the game. I'll talk about what cards you guys should go for depending on the makeup of your team in just a little bit, but he is one of the best options in this event so far. He is an S tier card. And then we've got the 89 Mika Zibanejad with Heart and Soul and Thief and Booming Shot and Gladiator. Booming Shot and Thief might be one of the best synergy combos that does not include one of the skating ones. So with Thief on, he's got into the 90s for defensive awareness. His face-off rating shoots up as well into the high 80s. He's got 90 speed, 91 acceleration, 91 agility, a great shot in the high 80s, low 90s. Hand stats are all above 91 as well. And elite edges. Unstoppable Force and Elite Edges have quickly become some of the most fun abilities that you can get in this game. I don't think 1T and Tape to Tape are all that useful at all. However, Elite Edges does make up for that on this card specifically. He's 6'2", he's got good size, and the big bonus for Zibanejad is now that he has a really good face-off rating, he can play center or right-handed wing, which gives you lineup flexibility. So when you are making a choice of which card to make, the fact that Zibanejad can play 2 positions on your team, no matter the makeup of your team, if you have a God Squad or if you're free to play, it doesn't matter. Whereas the other choices are kind of stuck in the position that they're listed. Hillary Knight can play center, but I think she's more effective on the wing. But nonetheless, he is an S tier card, one of the best in the game currently in terms of right-handed shooters. All right, now the next question is going to be, who should you make? All right, so I'm going to try and make this as general as possible, but always choose your favorite players, guys. It's something I say in almost all of my videos, but if you were looking for guidance and you want my opinion, here it is. All right, so if you've got a God Squad like I do, it's going to change things quite a bit, especially if you have multiple left-handed defenseman team builders, because I think Fedor Tutin is still a better card than OEL, just because of his abilities, and they have roughly the same skating and the same size. He might be slightly better than Steve Duchesne because Steve Duchesne's a little bit shorter. And again, they're right around roughly the same size. And they're right around the same skating ability. So no matter what, if you have Fedor Tutin already though, he's going to go on your second pair. Same thing goes with Bowen Byram. The fact that you've gotten to a master set player already at left-handed defense, it's less advantageous to have one of those cards on your second pair than it would be to have a first line forward. So let's talk about Mika Zibanejad. I think that he is the clear runaway pick to make unless you have a situation where you have stacked right-handed wingers. So let's say you've got Mario Lemieux and Nathan McKinnon, maybe Gretzky. You've got the team builder, Olli Jokinen, Stamkos, Barzal's X Factor, those kinds of situations. I still think Zibanejad is probably going to be your best play because overall I think forwards are more important than defensemen. However, here is how I would break it down for you guys. If you are trying to figure out which players to go for, this is how it should work. Your most important pairing, your most important line or lineup is your first offensive line. And then your second offensive line. After your second offensive line is set. So once these two, you have the best cards you can possibly get, given your price range and all of that. Then it's your first pairing on defense. After you've locked up your first pairing on defense, I think your third line is the next most important. And then it is your second and third defensive pair. I think the fourth line on your offense is just not going to see the ice enough for it to matter. So by doing that math with your team, that should help you make your decision. I really think that Zibanejad and OEL are the only real options to make out of this one, unless you want to try out Hillary Knight or you're looking for a goaltender in Patrick Waugh. I think Patrick Waugh is a gross card, but base Jacob Markstrom has done more than enough for me, and that's because goalie animations are insane right now. The backdoor saves they make is nuts, and it is what it is. Goaltending is always going to come down to how you play defense. Now, I understand my impact on the market when I release videos like this, so I don't like to say, hey, these are the collectible sets and things that you should focus on, because then it has a tendency to influence the market. So I'm not going to go super in-depth here, but again, just do the math. 87s right now, they're going for 50,000 coins. You get 5 collectibles per an 87. That means they're going for 10,000 per. The ones I've noticed the most, however, are the 84s. I think they are a really, really good value. But again, just do the math. It's not difficult. Go and find where the cheapest buy nows are going for, and then just divide however many collectibles you get. I also want to touch on the objectives real quick. So they came out again and did essentially give us the ability to get a free Master Set player in this event. No matter what, the ability to get a free card in this game is something that EA just has not really done at all in any of the past Hockey Ultimate Team games. Now, it does look like they are raising the actual time commitment and amount that you've got to do to earn these Master Set players, and I see a lot of the narrative on Twitter or in my DMs, things like that, about people complaining that it takes 450 games with one milestone player to actually get the Master Set guy. I understand that is an absolute ton of games. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that you can stack milestone players. Now, they are going for quite a bit right now because people are trying to grind through this, but there will come a point where they aren't nearly as expensive. And when you wait for that, and if you haven't watched my video on how to complete objectives quickly, just wait for the next 3v3 rivals mode, and you can throw as many as you want into your lineup and burn through the amount of games. So while it is a lot, the one danger that you run into by always giving out cards like in the spotlight event is that everyone ends up with the same team at essentially the exact same time. So just something to keep in mind, guys. I agree, it is an absolute ton if you don't play this game for a living, but the fact that they are actually allowing us to get a card without having to spend real money in the game, I think that's a plus no matter what. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below, and I'll see you next time. Have a